Faces Podcast.
And I know that statement's bold, but I can take that heat. Cause they say what you sow is just what you take when you reap. If I get my heart and soul, I can at least get some keys and open up more doors.
Episode 37, New Faces Podcast. I'm your host, Brandan&Isaiah. We got Zay with me, as always. And we got a very special guest today. He's a comedian out of D.C. He's a producer and associate producer.
Yes.
In many comedy clubs down there in D.C. He's also a Valley boy, too. My boy, Frank Giordano. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, guys? How you been? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How's it being back in Philly?
It's a lot cooler. DC is like mad short.
Yeah.
Like Philly actually feels like you're in a city.
Right.
DC feels like you're just in an extended office park. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like nothing ever gets tall. They can't build taller than the Washington Monument for some fucking reason. You allowed to cuss on here?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Well, I figured that out early.
Yeah, you're totally good. Yeah.
I either broke the rules or figured it out.
Everyone acts that when they come on here.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to do the YouTube, like, you got to mute me. I can't say cuss words. I got to, you know what I mean? For the first 2 minutes, and then it's just let it go.
No. We don't really care.
We're just letting it rip.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Cool. Because I don't know how to filter myself. I don't know if you're.
No, neither do I. Yeah, that's a problem I have every single time.
Yeah.
So that is not just a you thing at all. What made you move out to DC?
I fell in love with a woman who ironically is from Scranton, so I took the long route to just marry my girl from home.
Right.
But yeah, I moved down there for her, and then we got engaged like a month and a half ago. So.
Are we allowed to say her name, or do you want?
Oh yeah, her name's Cassidy.
Yeah, shout out to Cassidy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in a minute. How's So you prefer Philly over DC at this point?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not even. I like DC is cool. The people of DC is very hit or miss. I feel like in Philly, you know exactly what you're getting into with people. You know what I mean?
Right.
They tell you just how it is right from the jump.
Yeah.
DC, it's more like they'll be like, "Oh, hey, what's going on, Brandon? Good to see you." Yo, Brandon's a dickhead, yo. Like, you know what I mean? You just be like, "Why couldn't you say that 4 seconds ago when your shoulders were turned the other direction?" You know what I mean? So,
right.
So Philly, I don't know. It just it hits the vibe a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you've been here. You lived in Philly for what, 6-7 years?
Yeah. I went to Temple for 5 years. I did the victory lap.
Yeah.
I like college so much. I went back the 5th year. And then I was here 3 years after until COVID fucked everything up.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. I was here during like the weird COVID time where like everything was shut down and we didn't know when shit was gonna get turned back on.
Yeah.
So everything was closed and it just felt like a ghost town. It's kind of cool. It felt very old westy kind of, you know.
Yeah, because we didn't move. We didn't move here till 2022. So
got it. Okay.
We did not see the COVID ghost town. I was in Peckville at the time. So
which
is
you've
already
been to Peckville? Yeah, it's just a ghost town in the first place.
Yeah.
They built it like a ghost town. They were like
100%.
Yeah. They were like, only people who are going to live here are ages 65 to 85. So let's make it like that.
Every time. I don't know why that's the only place in the valley too that feels like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you go to Jessup and it feels like there's some level of like
community.
Yeah. And then you go down to Peckville and it's just like, all right, we got the school and the stadium, and that stadium's outfitted with 370-year-olds. You know what I mean? They all look the same. Do you know Jackie Rusby?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Jackie Rusby is this character that we talked about when we were in high school. He lives at every high school ever. He is the old white-haired white guy with he always wears like blue jeans and like New Balances. Yeah. He's got a windbreaker, zip up, and he's got the hat of the last time you guys won a title. And he's not related to anybody on the team. He hasn't been in 35 years. But every game he's there, and he's always like, "Come on, Johnny, throw that football. You got to go to Penn State." You know, like that's. But we got Jackie Rusby's galore. Like I feel like every person in our area is the Jackie Rusby. No,
that's a fact. And we also had like multiple people that would like, just like him, that would go down and watch practices and shit. And that was like, that's weird.
Yeah, listen, if you live in like Columbus and Ohio State's 25 minutes from you and you're like, "Yo, I'm going to go watch them practice," I understand.
Yeah.
You got a pretty good chance of a handful of those guys making it to the league. To pop into a high school in Northeast PA, shit, I'd be okay if you went to a high school in Texas. Yeah. They made TV shows about that. Yeah.
That's a fact.
They make a single TV show about Scranton. They made one TV show about us. We were selling paper.
That's 100%. Yeah. Our biggest support was them putting a Valley View helmet in there.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
And people still to this day will ask me, they're like, "Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that The Office wasn't filmed in Scranton?"
Yeah, everyone says that.
And I say to them, I'm like, you think that they paid Steve Carell millions of dollars to live in Carbondale? Are you fucking crazy?
It's insane.
You'd have to triple the number.
Yeah.
I'd fly in every day. I'd be like, no way. I'm going to film in the cold? Yeah, word. All right.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Especially, because he's from Scranton, too. So, like, what is it? He knows there's nothing to do here anyway.
What part of Scranton?
West Side.
West Side. All right, word. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we, I always, West Side was my favorite team to play in sports. Because your soccer team, for some reason, you guys would either pull up and like give us the greatest game we've ever played, or we'd house you by 33, and it made no sense. And I want to ask you about that because now we're turning the podcast around. I'm asking the questions. Go ahead. What the fuck was going on?
In the West Side area? Well, the thing is, I'm actually from. Well, I lived over in West Side like most of my time living in Scranton.
Okay.
But I actually went to Scranton my whole time.
All right, so you guys, so I'm taking back everything I said. Scranton used to give us belt to ass every time that we saw them.
Yeah. I went to West for I think at least a couple weeks, and then I was like, yeah, man, I gotta go back.
Scranton was a whole different story. Like I didn't realize, like growing up, I feel like in like Valley View, we didn't realize that you can have that many kids in a school at once.
At all, no.
And then I would talk to my nephew who went to Scranton, and he would be like, yeah, dude, we got like 800 people. I'm like, how the fuck do you have 800 people?
Yeah, how do you fit 800 people?
Where are they? You know what I mean? Yeah, so, but no, Scranton was always belt to ass because they always used to have the odd Brazilian kid that like didn't make his team in his hometown and was like, why don't I immigrate to a place no one's ever heard of?
Had a lot of transfers.
Yeah, dude, my nephew played with this one kid named Nazir, and he was like, you put him on any field at our level, he's the sickest player ever. And I'm just like, well, where? And he's like, he's Brazilian. I'm like, all right, there's the answer. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, got it.
People from Italy would come over with their kids. People from over in the Middle East, they would just come to put them on the soccer team.
Yeah, dude. My dad growing up, he used to, you guys know Nayak Park?
Yep.
My dad, like, they would have, like, the pool wouldn't have any water in it. When they moved here, they didn't have any, like, organized soccer. So he'd be like, yeah, we would just get a bunch of guys after work and go play in the pool. Yep. Some people be playing in steel-toed boots. He got his, like, leg broke 3 times. I'm like, see, that's, he walks so we can run. You know what I mean? Like, now we got organized leagues and shit. We're flying kids in from other countries to play. It's a whole thing, you know?
They have that for basketball, too, because Peach is from Georgia. He used to show up in, like, Tim's and shit to practice, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? And
Peach is from Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes. That's why he got the nickname. Yeah.
Orange, he's from Florida, too? Like, it's crazy.
No, yeah, 100%. He would show up in, like, jeans and shit. I was like, they were like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. This is how I played. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Scranton was weird like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many people from all over just came to Scranton, and just melting pot was just crazy over there for some reason.
And we had, I think, maybe 5 black people at our school.
Yeah, in the history of the school, most likely.
It's interesting that you say in the history of the school, because I was just thinking, and you're probably right.
It's
like, no, we had like 3. No, you're right. 5 total.
5 total.
Which is crazy. It's like I say this to like in comedy, you meet a lot of different people. Obviously, it's a super diverse thing. And a lot of my friends that I've met in comedy are Jewish, and I told them, I'm like, dude, I didn't know anyone who was Jewish growing up.
No,
like, there is not a soul that I met. I just had no idea. And then like I moved, when I came down here, I went to Temple.
Yeah.
University. I should probably mention that because I could realize that could be misconstrued. But I went to Temple and I was like, oh, word. People who aren't like me. How about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was one of the foreign kids in our school. I was born in CMC, dude. I was born in Scranton. But they were like, yo, when it's summertime, you look a little Latino. Are you? And I'm like, no, dude, I'm Italian. They're like, you're Latino. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, you really were like the diverse.
Yeah, it was always
kid
weird.
at our school at that point.
Yeah, it was like my dad would come to soccer games and like other parents would be like, my dad's name's Luigi. I don't know if that's I'm going to look right into the camera when I say this. My father's name is Luigi and his brother's name is Mario. And that's not a joke. That's the truth. And they both look just like me.
That's amazing.
So when when my dad would come to soccer games, they would literally be like, who's Mario? And it's like, that's Luigi, bro. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch your mouth.
Get the right character at least. Jesus Christ.
You know what I mean?
Now, I wanted to bring this up because I remember like back in high school, like when we hung out, I remember, and I forget where it was, we talked about you as like, you should do stand-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember those conversations, And then to see you do it was crazy. Like actually like, oh, he's actually like pursuing this now. That's fantastic. So what was the moment where you're like, I'm going to go into this?
It's actually kind of funny. It's like, so I did it a couple times when I was in college at Temple University.
Keep putting that in there.
But I did it a couple times when I was at Temple, and it was like it was totally different. I did it at an open mic, but it was an all arts open mic. So I went after like a guy who was playing the saxophone, and it was in North Philly. So I was like the only white guy in the entire building.
Of course, yeah.
And so I was like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I didn't pick the right thing. You know what I mean? And then I was like, we were just in DC. I've always been a huge fan of comedy, always been breaking balls, whatever.
Yeah.
And then an open mic started across the street from us. And I went one night and I was like, I don't know, I'm probably funnier than some of these guys. Maybe not all of them, but like I feel like inherently what they're saying is not any funnier than anything I've ever thought of.
Right.
Why can't I do that? And then I just asked the lady afterwards, I'm like, what do I do to get on next week? And they're like, well, it's a brand new mic, so you can get on next week if you want. And then they put me up last, which I don't know if you guys know this as a comedian, especially like a brand new super green comedian. It's like the most thrilling thing because somehow in your head you're like, dude, I'm going last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone's laughing so hard. They're going to hear my jokes. They're already warmed up. But then you realize you're not funny at all. And then you get there and you're like, all right, oh shit, everyone's fatigued. Yeah. The good comics are all done. Everyone's leaving. Oh shit. So that was a couple of the first times.
That's why they threw you last, really? Yeah,
because it's like, if you have a good open mics are weird, but I'll say like, if you have a good open mic where you know like everybody on there is a comic who is at open mics all the time, whatever, like if that's pretty good and you have one random guy who's never tried it before, I'd put him at the end too.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's like, well, you want the actual show to be good.
Right.
And then for better or for worse, the host will sometimes even say something of the tune of like, this next guy's brand new, never did it before, first time on the stage, da-da-da-da. And then like from that, everyone kind of then knows whether or not they're going to like piss their pants laughing or watch someone have a meltdown.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot.
Yeah. I don't know how you have the confidence to be like, this could go either way. Because if in my head, I'm like, all right, this might not go well. I'm like, I don't, like my confidence is already shot. So how do you keep the confidence up before you go up there?
Yeah. I tell people all the time, it feels very much like, let me preface this. I'm sorry, Mom. I have tried drugs. It feels a lot like drugs, but I don't know what one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like very like the anticipation while you're walking up there. It makes you kind of have that level of confidence where you're like, all right, I'm gonna do it or I'm not gonna do it. You know what I mean? And I'm walking up there, so fuck it. Why not do the best?
Yeah.
But I'm also weird in the sense of I like bombing.
Really?
Like, bombing's kind of funny.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Like, here's my thing, right? Like, if you're like every comedian in the world, whether you like it or not, whether you're this highbrow comedian who like, you know, only punches like to certain things and only talks about political topics, whatever, no matter what, you're still a clown. Like, I don't care. I'm a clown. I just don't wear the face paint, right?
Right, yeah.
So if you're not able to inherently laugh at yourself, that's crazy to me. Someone standing on stage and for 5 minutes straight not getting a single laugh is fucking hilarious. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, dude. That's 100%. Funny as hell. So every time that I see someone do that, I'm like, that sucks. Also laugh at yourself. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's like, oh, you bombed 5 minutes at a Tex-Mex restaurant on a Tuesday. Life will go on. You know what I mean? It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So something weird about bombing where it's like when I'm up there and I know I'm bombing, I kind of like to tell the crowd like, oh, you guys hate this. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. You guys hate this. All right. Well, I'll scratch the fuck out of it out of my notebook. You know, I'll burn that page, never using that again.
Right.
You know? So, but yeah, as far as like the confidence thing, I feel like it hits like a drug when you're on your way up there and the whole time you're walking up, you're just like, dude, who can stop me other than myself to do these jokes?
Yeah.
If they don't like them, they don't like them, but I'm doing them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, because like I said, I remember when we would talk about it, like you doing stand up, I was like, okay, his timing on jokes, because like anytime we all hung out, it was like very unserious for the most part.
It had to be.
But yeah, absolutely. But like you had like a really good timing with it where it was like, like I always thought people were funny but could never do stand up because like I don't think they have like the timing for it or like the confidence or whatever the case was. You kind of had all that, and I was like, this is the only person in this area that I could see doing this.
Yeah.
So, like, how many people told you like you should do this before like you were like, you know what, I'm just like I really should invest some time into it?
Yeah, I don't know because I feel like all of my close friends like you know how you guys know how the Valley is like.
Of course,
they
yeah.
break balls to the point where like they have a hard time actually giving you compliments. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Where it's like, you know, like I could land a plane on the Hudson with no wings and they'd still be like, couldn't keep the wings on, dickhead. You know what I mean? And be like, all right, well, you know, so like, it's not that my friends never said it. It was always like kind of but it was always like people that I barely knew that would ask me if I did it already.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird. Like I wasn't doing stand up and people would ask me like, do you do like, are you a performer or something? Like, not really. Like I did stand up a couple of times and they'd be like, got it. That's probably what it is then. So I don't know. It's like when you hear that enough times, it kind of like sparks something in your brain. There was also like, this is such a weird soliloquy, but bear with me.
Okay.
My sister's like college professor, when I was like, say I'm 13 and we're in St. Louis, and I was like telling a story at like the reception of the graduation, and the college professor was watching me. She was like probably like a 40-year-old woman, and she's cracking up, and then after I'm done, she says something to the tune of like, you should do stand-up comedy. And that was the first time where I was like, I met this person 15 minutes ago.
Right.
If they think I'm funny, then I have to be somewhat funny.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there is something in your brain where it's like, if the only people who have ever laughed at your jokes are your family and your friends, it's like, all right, you are probably funny. Are you like write jokes and tell them on a stage to strangers funny?
Totally different, yeah.
Completely different. And it's like, I don't know, it's very like, it sounds dumb, but like it's rewarding when you get to like make all your friends laugh to the point where they're crying. That's awesome. It's also really cool when like your friends are just at a show and you're not looking at them as friends you're trying to make laugh. You're looking at it as like, I'm trying to make these strangers laugh. If everyone laughs, that's kind of a plus. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because like that's a difficult like thing to like differentiate. Like when you're going into this, like, okay, like my mom thinks I'm funny. I don't think everyone thinks I'm funny though.
Exactly.
There's no way I can make people laugh the same way I make my mom or my dad or my brother or family or whatever laugh. So like that's definitely a difficult situation. But you, like I said, you got compliments right away, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
What is the comedy scene like out in DC compared to like anywhere else? Also, real quick, do I sound crazy on the headphones right now? Like, do I sound like
Talk again?
like do I sound weird? Or is it like the same? I feel weird like in my headphones. It feels like I'm like mad distant from the mic.
A little bit. Talk again?
Yo.
Yeah, you might need it down.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like I don't know, spacey.
Yeah,
You know?
just
Yeah.
like distorted a little bit because he's falling.
All right, hold on. Let me text Diego. We could edit this whenever, so let me see this real quick.
We're gonna edit around this part.
Yeah.
So, just to preface, I was watching your clips on Instagram. You get wrestling guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get into that.
Absolutely.
I'm a big wrestling guy too, and I've been running a joke. If you're gonna cut this, I'll just tell you guys. But I've been running a joke about how guys are willing to go to drag shows with their girls because we watched WWE growing up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just drag shows with more headlocks,
Big facts.
right?
Wow. Yeah. I never
Yeah,
thought of
like
that.
it's.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go watch a guy dressed as a chick. Okay, well, you know, we had Eugene.
Less pyro.
We had Eugene. Yeah, less pyro, exactly. But that's just because you can't do it and try to
Eugene was a
Tex-Mex
crazy
restaurant.
character.
Eugene's all time the craziest character.
No, I think the one that you said
Santina
like,
Morella?
Santino Marella is hilarious. I'm a big, like, obviously comedy. Like, I'm a big, like, the comedic wrestlers, and I always love their bits. Like, Santino Marella is one of the funniest.
Top tier vids.
Yeah, because
oh my God, yeah.
I love Italian jokes. Like, it's crazy to me when people don't like jokes about their demographic, because it's like, especially like if they're done well. Like, I hate when a joke is done poorly. Like when I was growing up, people would just call me greaseball, and it's like, that's not funny.
No, that's,
You're not working on it.
that's
know what I
something you've probably heard a million times.
Right. Versus like my favorite insult I've ever heard was WAP. You know, WAP, without papers. Yo, that's hilarious to call an Italian. That's so funny. And the first time I heard that,
that's good.
the first time I heard that, I was like, "Wop, that sounds so dumb." And they said without papers. I go, "There it is."
Yeah.
I go, "That's perfect." It's money right there. I gotta tell you guys, there's something really powerful in my brain to not press those buttons. Because I saw them all lighting up, and I kept looking down at them, and I'm like, "Well, just keep your hands on your lap, idiot." You know what I mean? Stop.
Test them out.
Yo, but I see there's a big red button. It's two of them. Shit. All right, so let's see what we do.
Oh yeah, press all of them. Go ahead.
Oh, and they stop on a touch.
Yeah.
Technology's sick.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to try the rest of them?
No, because because then I'm gonna fuck. No, no, because I'm gonna have too much fun with them, and then I'm gonna think that like I'm gonna say something so funny, and I'm gonna press a button, and then you guys are gonna be like, "We're gonna edit that out. That sucked." So we invited this comedian here. He didn't tell a fucking joke all day. You know?
No, Zay. When we first saw it, Zay pressed every single button.
Yeah,
All at the same time.
I get it, dude.
All at
I
the
get
same
it.
time. Like,
For any of the ladies watching, I don't know if you know this about the male mind. That's how it works.
super
See
simple.
a button, you gotta touch it. Yeah,
Every time.
Yeah.
Super simple. It was the easiest, like, oh, we're just going to touch this whole thing now and just...
Are you guys the same way in museums that like you see a statue, it says "Do not touch," and you're just like, "Well, I'm gonna
Oh, of course, yeah.
at least rub my arm against it,
100%.
brush against the kneecap or something." You know what I mean?
You gotta feel it out. You gotta
Yeah, make sure it's real. What the fuck?
Yeah.
If I don't touch it, I don't know it's marble. You know what I mean? I'm
That's
not.
a fact.
All those
Take your
paintings,
word for it.
all those paintings at the Philadelphia Museum, I just gotta leave. I just gotta leave.
Bro, just walking in at palms first.
They had the rope there. They said, "Oh, went over to touch it." I said, "Oh, damn, that's it." They're like, "Of course."
I was in a museum in Rome a couple of years ago, and I didn't realize I was like putting my elbow on a piece of art. So we just walked in a room, and I was just leaning on something. And the guy walks over and goes, "Oh." I was like, "Oh," and I didn't realize like my foot's on the rope. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, this fucking ground.
It's so quiet in there. People were just like, "Oh my god."
You really can't touch nothing anywhere, but like every guy is going to.
Yeah.
There's at least one.
I also like figure out the rules more properly, in my opinion, because like, you guys ever been to Sistine Chapel? You know how the Sistine Chapel looks like in the inside, right? You're not allowed to take photos, which makes sense because most flash photography over time will degrade paintings, and you can't be fucking up the Sistine Chapel, right? There's too much pretty in there.
Yeah.
An iPhone camera will not do a goddamn thing to it.
No.
Not once. Never, ever, ever. And I have multiple pictures of me in the Sistine Chapel, and every single time an Italian guy walks up to me, and I just go full American. Because I speak Italian, but I'll just be like, "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to take photographs." You know what I mean?
We're real enunciating.
Yeah, but every time I want to just tell him, like in Italian, like, "Yo, dickhead, not doing a thing." You know what I mean? If I'm standing here with a DSLR taking, like full flash photography of the ceiling, kick me out.
Yes.
If I'm walking around selfie sticking from my crotch, you know what I mean? Getting the elbows of strangers in it while I just barely get the finger touch, and I'm just like, yo.
Yeah, let me. They don't even let you use an iPhone in that bitch?
No, dude, he comes out, like, he straight up would tell you, like, delete the photos. I'd be like, all right, little trick for you guys. They didn't teach the Vatican about the recently deleteds.
Oh, yeah.
They got no idea. I was like, I'll delete every one of them, bro. I'm like, no problem. And then just walked out, put them back in.
Recovered all of them, yeah.
I felt like a spy. This is what Tom Cruise feels like when he's
Mr.
hanging from a
Impossible.
rope, like, you know what I mean? Like trying to cut into like glass to get the diamonds. Same thing.
I can feel like they're not updated on that sort of thing anyway, so.
Which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I understand tradition and all, but like, figure it out. Let me. I don't know.
If you want to tell that, because when we were fixing our mic, I do want to hear the full, not the full joke, but like with wrestling, because you realize we're big wrestling fans.
Yeah, I mean the joke. I mean the joke basically, like, not to give too much away. Like the premise of it basically is men are way more willing to go to drag shows. Where like historically, like if you told my dad, "Hey, we're going to a drag show where a bunch of men are going to dress up as women," or whatever the case is. He, as an immigrant who was born in the 40s, would have some fucking reservations. Yeah. Right. He would just be like, "Now, why are we doing that? What are we?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, what is this all about? Yeah.
That's just the generation. Versus like every single person under the age of 40 years old, if their girl walks up to them and is like, "We're going to a drag show," they have no difficulty being convinced.
No.
Because for the last 25 years, they've been watching grown adult sweaty men in leotards pretend to be dead
Something
guys.
like that,
We had an old-timey, old Western Undertaker.
Yep.
That was the greatest gimmick ever.
Ever.
Hulk Hogan was just a blonde American man.
So bad.
Yeah, who had the patina of a bologna sandwich. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask too, because we hate Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah, no, I watched that clip. That's why I brought it up. I was like,
He's so bad.
I was like, I know y'all hate Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, no, we despise him. But yeah, no, there's like some of the characters for wrestling is just like obscene to the point where it's like, how did we let this happen? Like the Eugene character is just
I think Eugene might be 1-1 on the most ridiculous character ideas ever. I think up there though is, do you guys remember the Boogeyman?
Yeah, of course.
yes. Oh my god.
That guy's storyline started out with him like eating a blemish off of a woman's face.
Yep.
And like when you're 12, like you're not distinguishing whether or not that's a real blemish or not.
Right.
So for weeks, I'm just like, that guy, we got to put him in a
In a facility somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, put him in a room with no windows, like, you know what I mean? Like, toss one of the fun jackets on him, you know what I mean?
And then bring him out for wrestling. And
Just for wrestling. And even then, like, you know what I mean? Like,
there's got to be people on the side of the ring.
yeah, you got to throw one of those baby harnesses on him, you know what I mean? Like, 4 handlers coming out with him at all times. Like, don't let him get more than 20 feet away. He's going to eat one of the kids in the front row.
Oh,
like,
1,000%.
we're going to lose little Johnny, who's age 12 here at his first WrestleMania. Got to eat limb from limb, dude.
He would eat worms and shit. Like, I was just like, bro, you are a different human being.
Right. Which, like, again, my thought is like, when you get into wrestling, right, you don't get in there typically with a gimmick like that.
No.
Like, it's not like you show up to your first tryout and you're just like, hey, I'm the worm eating guy. That's not usually, usually it's like, you got to prove that you're an athlete. How long until that guy got told that? Like, how deep into him, like, training, practicing, whatever, before Vince McMahon walked up?
Vince gave it to him probably the next week.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, you can't say no.
You're gonna eat mealworms and crickets. You okay with that? And he's like, yep.
Are they real? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course they're real. Yeah, we're gonna stop at a tackle shop every 2 weeks. Stop. Every time we're in a new place, we're stopping at the nearest lake store to buy more fish food for you to eat on stage. And this will be in dark matches, right, Vince? No, it'll be in front of everybody.
Yeah.
A million people watching on USA Network.
Yeah. This isn't just like a promo that you're doing,
No.
like just you and the camera. No, this is in front of everybody.
Are we gonna edit the stuff in? No. The only thing in will be the worms in your mouth, and that'll be it. We'll be finished.
All right, how much are you getting paid for this? All right, fine, fuck it.
Yeah, at one point you're probably like, all right, you know what I mean? Like the people on Fear Factor aren't getting paid shit unless they win.
Yep.
You eat just worms every week, and you're just like,
Yeah.
as long as I get like 13 of them down, I'm getting a paycheck.
Barely even wrestling. Just eating. Just eating worms.
Because I don't remember a single
A
match.
clothesline, maybe. One clothesline, maybe.
Maybe. I don't even know if he did that.
Yeah.
I don't know what his finish was. I don't know what he did. It was like the Great Khali. He was just big with a big chin, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you in." I guarantee he hasn't wrestled with a day in his life before that.
No, Kali? No,
No.
dude. No, I feel like when you're that size, you only
He's
have
8'6". He doesn't need to wrestle.
No, not at all.
I believed in that too, by the way. When they came out with that, I was like, because I remember playing like, you guys played NBA Street Volume 2?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
They always had the heights and weights of every player on there, and I just remember seeing Shaq and Yao Ming and just being like, all right, those are the tallest people we've ever had.
Yep, ever.
Like, that's the biggest we've ever gotten. And then I found out Great Khali was 8'6", and I was like, well, who knew? You know what I mean? I didn't know the Middle East pulled them out like that. I thought, you know what I mean? You're learning things every day.
And like he would like wrestle against Rey Mysterio. I'm like, what are we doing here exactly?
Yeah. Which, I don't know, would be kind of funny for Rey Mysterio. It's just like, all right, so what do I do this entire match? All right, you're just going to like try to do moves on him while he just forcefully throws you across the ring.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think I could do that.
Imagine him trying to do the 619 on Great Khali.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know if you could put him in the bottom turnbuckle or the middle rope without him like being fully horizontal. You know what I mean? He's not on his hands and knees like fucking.
No, because he's not getting up after that.
No.
Once he's on the ground, you won.
Yeah, that guy also, like, the first thing the doctor probably told him is, like, bro, your spine and all of your bones are fucked. Like, you are 8'9", and there's no way.
There's no way you're going to be.
You can't
do
fit
much.
indoors. That means you're too big. You know what I mean? That's my barometer of how big too big is like, can you fit indoors? No? All right, well, too big. You know what I mean?
I wonder how he got around anywhere.
Bro, I don't know how, like, he got on
Slowly.
planes. Yeah. Like when he had to rent a car, it was definitely like, do you guys have SUVs available? No, we don't. All right, well, then I'll wait here until you have an SUV available.
Yeah.
Like I can't get in a town car. No. I'd love to. I'm not going to be able to.
I would assume he would have to just get in limos. I'm not going to lie. I don't
lay him down in a limo.
That's exactly what I'm imagining. I can't imagine even an SUV. Like, I still feel like he's too big. They have to be like, all right, you're the only one in this car.
I was gonna say I was on the turnpike like 2 weeks ago and I saw one of those like the wide load trailers. I'm 95% sure it was the Great Khali on it. I'm pretty sure.
They actually have someone driving him and he's just in the back, just chilling. Like, there's no way he fits in anything. Like, you can't. I imagine the Big Show had a tough time. Fucking Great Khali had the worst time ever.
You know what's crazy about the Big Show though? He's apparently like mad athletic.
Yeah.
Like he was doing like in his first match, he like did a backflip.
Yeah, he did a shooting star press. Yeah.
Yeah, and someone came up to him and was like, "All right, we're not doing that anymore."
It's just no way.
Like, do you see how big you are?
He's
You
that
can't be
long
doing
hair
that
and
shit.
all that too.
Yeah. I think that's just so funny because there was a couple of cats in the back that are like 6'2", like 220, that are like athletic but can't do a shooting star press. They're just like, we can't let him do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's making us all look like shit right now. All right, he's too athletic and too big. We can't let this happen.
Yeah, 'cause he played basketball or some shit too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like any like pro wrestler is like a 3-sport athlete, and they're all like D3 at them all.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe a couple like you got like the Kurt Angles, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar's the freaks of nature.
Yeah, the dudes who are just like, they're actual wrestlers. They will actually be really good at a sport. Like, I feel like every person in the WWE has to be like a former like basketball player, football player.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? There's just no reason you would be that big outside of being
Roman
sports.
Reigns.
Yeah. Roman Reigns was a
play for what?
player,
Hawaii? Right? Did he play for University
Georgia
of Hawaii?
Tech.
Georgia Tech.
It's automatic. You see, I didn't even have.
So who's your guys' all-time favorite wrestler?
Mine is The Rock.
Okay, I accept.
All-time favorite?
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels.
Okay. I think I fuck with that too. I think mine like actually is like the Undertaker's like the coolest ever. So I don't know that I'd necessarily say he's my favorite, but I feel like my like actual favorite all time is Rey Mysterio.
That's a great choice.
Like it's just something like there was just something sick. Also, for probably 15 years, I didn't know that there were pictures of him without his mask.
Yep, no one did. Yep.
Like I was fully convinced, and there were like I was born and he was already out of the mask. You know what I mean? Like he had spots in WCW where he wasn't in the mask.
Yeah. That was
But
weird.
then when I started watching wrestling, I'm like, this guy sleeps with this mask. He showers. You know what I mean? He's fucking his wife.
Never gonna, never gonna see his face ever.
Yeah, he puts on every Valentine's Day he puts on the red mask and he's just my baby girl.
Yeah.
I got the flowers in the top. You see these? You know what I mean?
It's so crazy because I actually had an action figure with him without the mask on.
Oh yeah, see that would fuck me up. I'd be like, that's not him.
Yeah.
I was like,
They just used somebody's face. They didn't-
I remember looking at it and I'm like, nah, that's not Rey Mysterio. And then like I remember being like, because my cousin was a huge wrestling fan, he got me into it. I'm like, he was like, no, that's Rey Mysterio in WCW. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that's weird. Get this away from me.
Yeah, it always tripped me up. But I like there was something like Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy are the same vibe in my mind where it was like there was always something cool about guys that like are again giant people flying through the air. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's all like a suplex is sick, don't get me wrong. Jumping off of a fucking turnbuckle onto a ladder or like off a ladder, off a turnbuckle onto a table, always cooler.
Always
Inherently always cooler.
Way
You know what
better.
I mean?
Way better. I don't care about, I mean, I do like Undertaker's great, obviously, but I don't really care about like the massive, big, tall wrestlers like that. Like it's way more entertaining when like even like a Kurt Angle who like maybe wasn't like the most like eccentric personality. His wrestling style was amazing.
Yeah. I love when my Kurt Angle probably had my favorite like in ring gimmick, so to say, was when he would be like beating the shit out of you. And he would just stand up, they'd do the close cut on him, and he would just undo the straps.
Yeah.
Bro, every time that I'd see that, I'd just be like, well, I'd leave the arena at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anyone's safe right now. We got an Olympian with no straps on. This guy's lost his fucking mind. You know what I mean?
It's over.
He's going to start suplexing people out of the windows. Like, you don't know what to do.
Especially when he shaved the head, it was over for
Disaster.
everybody.
Yeah.
It was over for everybody. I always want to give credit. I don't not always want to give credit, but like Chris Benoit was one of my favorites, and then he did all that shit. I'm like, God damn, I can't. Yeah, every time he does that, but like, you can't even root for him. You can't even say who's one of your favorites. You can't say it because you're like, yeah, you kind of murdered your whole family. I can't really be like a fan anymore. Like that's kind of
the Chris Benoit thing. I'm gonna turn back to comedian for a second, real quick. Is anyone in the world shocked that a man whose main fucking finisher was a flying headbutt? Is anyone shocked that the man was like you can't spell CTE without Chris Benoit? You know what I mean? And I don't even want to like. Obviously, everything that happened was a tragedy. I'm not trying to make light of that. It's more so just the fact of like, duh.
Yeah, and he did that for years.
It was his only move. It was that or the crippler crossface, which like, all right, that was the finishing move. But it's like anytime he went up to the turnbuckle, you were never like, oh, he's going to hit him with the elbow.
No.
He's going to hit him with a leg drop. Yeah. No. He's like, no, he's going to go forehead first into something, right? Like, oh, but you know, they soften it up. It's all like, dude, how much can you soften up a torpedo forehead like Luigi in Smash Bros? Like,
yeah. You can't, yeah. It was written that he was gonna unfortunately do that.
Did you guys ever see the SmackDown versus Raw video game, the like cut scene that he cut like 2 years before it happened?
No,
I don't think so.
Bro, all right, I'll have to send you guys this later. But like the gist of it basically is like the Undertaker is talking to Chris Benoit in the ring during like a cut scene in the game, and the Undertaker says something to the tune of like your family will be weeping at like what the actions that happen over the next blah 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 blah, and then it was, and then this happened, and they were like, do we know how to update a video game on PS2? You know what I mean? Like,
which they did not.
Yeah, dude. The WWE. Did you guys watch the Vince McMahon doc?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the prime example of just like, I don't ever want to meet my heroes.
No, man. No.
Not a single one of them, bro.
No.
John Cena is probably the only one. And I'm not gonna sit here camera and tell you that John Cena is my hero. Okay, I'm not gonna let myself do that. I'm not gonna be on recording. Shut those off.
We can't have John Cena be.
Yeah, I'm not having a guy walking out in jorts and a fucking in a Flava Flav chain for 3 years.
And his Kmart shoes.
I'm not allowing this. You know what I mean? Walk out in a pair of threes or something. You know what I mean? Stop like. Anyways.
He was like the most like swaggerless swag dude I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and it always like, I don't know, it always threw me for a whirl when he would he would be on screen like pulling black chicks. I'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, the different jerseys and everything he had on,
wearing Larry Bird jerseys, and I'd be like, man, this doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
I wore Larry Bird jerseys in college. I got made fun of. How is he doing this right now?
Apparently you just have to not have a neck and replace it with muscles, and then that's just the way.
And Vince would come out with the do-rags and everything.
Yeah, you got to have those SpongeBob SquarePants inflatable shoulders that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else you. Yeah.
No, because I definitely didn't get any respect wearing a Larry Bird jersey. So
no.
How he did, I was like, all right, I guess I'm just not John Cena. That's just something.
Not pro wrestler white guys like me and you. We have to wear our basketball jerseys over hoodies. Yeah. So we hide all of our insecurities. You know what I mean? Like, I want you knowing what I look like under this. You know what I mean? You might see my shoulders and notice I have none. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That joke hurt way too much for me. Jesus Christ. There was way too many pictures of me in jerseys with a sweatshirt under it. Oh my God.
Some of my favorite pictures are me in jerseys and sweatshirt. I don't even think I don't own more than like 2 basketball jerseys. I would just find basketball jerseys and be like, this would look sick on top of gray hoodie, bro. You know what I mean? Imagine me drinking beers on a roof in this.
The amount of likes I'm going to get? Crazy.
Oh, dude. You're going to be talking to people about how the mountains turn blue? Sponsored by Coors, maybe not.
No. We're not sponsored.
We're just, listen, we're peddling sponsorships, all right? One of them's going to bite, all right?
One of them is going to, if Coors came with an offer, I'd take it. We would be sitting here drinking Coors every day.
Next time I'm here, it's just the entire back wall is just covered in
Coors Light and everything.
Listen, that beer is disgusting. For an advertisement, I'm drinking. I will suffer through that pain.
I say it all the time. I'm very much jealous for this current generation. I am part of this current generation. I'm not 65 years old. I'm 30.
Let's say you're a year older.
Yeah, I'm not 100. Like I made that sound like I came from the 60s. Like back in my day when orange juice was 3 cents. No, I always get like jealous that like when we were in college, we had to drink beer from a keg.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't tasty.
No.
Like we all collectively made the same lie up in our heads. Beer is good, and no, it's fucking not. It never has been. It never will be. There's a reason they put oranges in beer, and they, you know what I mean? There's a whole, it's not. And then like now it's like kids are going to like keggers or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm bringing a 6-pack of White Claw. And it's like, dude, that would be so much fun to enjoy my drinking while I'm drinking.
The only time we enjoyed drinking was like probably Red's Pale Ale, which was fucking trash.
Right.
Too.
There was this weird time where I was drinking Twisted Teas, and like I would literally order it like a pussy because I knew that's what I was. Like I'd be in Scranton at like Whiskey Dicks, which the story already is sounding crazy. I'm ordering Twisted Teas from Whiskey Dicks.
The capacity of 12 people is in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna get so many questions from this podcast. You're gonna be like, "What were you doing at a place called Whiskey Dicks, and why are you? I mean, you getting green tea shots?" I was.
Yes, we all were.
But
that place is from here to here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Whiskey Dicks. Yeah, if you spit on one side, you hit the wall, and everyone in it. But no, like Whiskey Dicks, like you would be sitting there, you'd be like, "Can I get 2 Twisted Teas, please?" And the guy would just look you up and down and be like, "I know." Okay, I'm aware. All right,
I'm a bitch.
Wearing a denim jacket, I know what I look like. All right, relax.
I know I should be somewhere else, but I'm
not. I know. But
there's only so many options here. I can't.
In the meantime, get me a half and half while you're at it. You know what I mean? I don't want just a lemonade one. Let me get the. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, bringing back to Whiskey Dicks is.
Whiskey Dicks is awesome because that was the first place I found out that there was like Red Bull imposters.
Really?
Yeah, like you guys know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Like if you go to a bar and you ask for Red Bull, plenty of times they'll tell you we have Red Bull, and then they'll shoot it out of a gun.
Yeah,
like that's not how Red Bull comes.
Yeah,
no,
they don't have Red Bull like that.
No.
Yeah, that's called Electric Monkey. Is the brand that comes out of the gun.
That's so funny.
Yeah, if you get the I don't know what they're called. The Whiskey Dick shots. They have like 14 colors of them. I don't know what they're called, but those shots are made with Electric Monkey. And I learned that because I'm like, what are they made of? And they're like, Red Bull. I'm like, oh my God, fuck yeah. All right, let me get a couple. And I see her lining it up, and then I see her like unscrew the top of this bottle. And I'm like, there's no way in the world a Red Bull would be put in a bottle. Never. We need the crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
We need the crack so all the longshore truckers know that it's time to put in another shift of 7 hours down the pike. That's what Red Bull was made for. I don't know if you. They made Red Bull and they covered it up as like everyone needs energy. It's not. It's Walmart drivers who need to get from like Saskatchewan all the way down to like Santa Fe in 2 days. You're like, how could I drive 33 hours straight? Oh, let me supplement my energy with this delicious Red Bull, sponsored by Red Bull. We're getting one of them, baby.
You're gonna get us one of these.
We're always closing. ABC's always be closing. That's what we live by around here.
If we get one of these, just let me know what percentage you want. We got you. 100%.
I'll just take Red Bull. Honestly, I'll just take a couple cans of Red Bull.
Really?
Yeah, you guys keep the share. All right, just invite me back on, and then
we'll get you on a couple times.
As long as we just need cases of Red Bull, and you'd be like, Frank, those are for you. Like, all right, word. Thank you, Red Bull.
Yes. Every time we get a case, we'll get you on.
That's perfect.
That's how that's going to work.
Yeah, perfect.
Do you want that same thing for Coors Light, or do you want it for just Red Bull?
Again, beer, not tasty.
So you don't drink beer anymore?
I drink beer because it's socially acceptable, which says a lot about me, I think. Oh, does Frank give in to peer pressure? Yes, 100% every time available. Yeah. I'll show up places and be like, I'm not drinking tonight. And then I'll see a friend drinking and I'll be like, oh, I'm not going to let you drink by yourself.
Yeah.
Like a son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, come on, grab a drink.
We're in a group of 20. Yeah, but I can't let him do it by himself.
I would never. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's George Bush said it perfectly. No child left behind. And that's what I live by. Okay. I'm not. All right. I see a buddy smoking a blunt. I'm not going to let you face it. You know what I mean? Right. God knows what could happen. You might get high. So let me come over and help you. Let me help you dispose of it.
Oh my God, because I do the same shit. Not with smoking, but drinking for sure. I'm like, yeah, I'm not drinking tonight. You know what? Let me get another one. Yeah, let me get one too. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah, it's like, it feels like a stupid thing where it's like, then what happens if my friends have 3 drinks and they're having a great time and I haven't had one? Now I got to catch up.
Yeah, now I got.
I'm not a sprinter. You know what I mean? We're running a 5K. I'll keep up with you.
Yeah.
We're doing a 100-meter dash. I'm done in the first 20. I'm not gassed out.
So we're saying this. He's actually that person that doesn't drink.
That's you have the self-control that I and everyone in the valley wishes that they had.
Emphasis on valley.
Yeah. You gotta specify, because there's that little sliver of Scranton that we love and hate, the valley, that is just riddled with semi-alcoholics. You know what I mean? Like guys who like love drinking but like won't tell you how much.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, dude, this is my third beer. And you're like, that can't be right, because I walked up with you 4 times. You know what I mean? You're doing your math wrong.
Yeah, and I see your eye going this way. There's no way.
Yeah, which you have to be careful, though, because a lot of people in the valley, that's just how default their eyes work. It's just, you know what I mean? The one will just start trailing off. And
yeah. He's making jokes. This is really a real scenario.
Speaking of the valley, I have a headlining show.
Hey, promote it. We're here for your promotion.
I truly forget that. Do you know what the name of Thirsties is now?
No.
I really forget it every fucking time, and I shouldn't. You can cut this part so I don't look like the worst professional.
Is it like Elephant something? I don't fucking know. I forget.
I hope it's not Elephant. I don't want to work at a place called Elephant something.
I forgot.
Cheap shots. All right, there it is.
Wow, that wasn't even fucking close either.
Elephant.
Oh my god. I don't know what I thought there was a bar called an Elephant or some shit like that. I don't know.
Used to be Saints though.
100%. Yeah, I have no fucking idea. I have not been to an Elephant bar in quite some time. That's an elephant, right?
Is it because you heard Olyphant and you thought there was elephant related?
That's definitely what
That's the connection.
That's definitely the connection. There's no other way I came to elephant other than it kind of sounds like Olyphant.
I'm thinking in my head, like, is there anywhere in Olyphant that's even like an Indian restaurant that might have like a motif of an elephant? Not even that, dude. Again, another group of people we don't know about in Scranton.
Also, Olyphant, here to here. That's
100%.
There's nothing in Olyphant whatsoever in terms of like space.
Yeah. The only thing in Olyphant is the anchor, which is so funny because like that's everyone's like, well, where are you in relation to the anchor? It's like, bro, Olyphant's bigger than just the 4x4 foot
right there.
Square of an anchor.
But you find the best characters at the anchor too.
You do.
Everyone holding a sign talking about Jesus and gay people and whatever.
Which, can I ask a question? People like. Leave a comment below. Do people who are like on the fence, like, let me rephrase this. The people who are walking around with like the "you need Jesus in your life" or "Jesus saves" signs, do they think that like where I'm going to convert is on the metro platform or like on my daily commute in Olyphant?
I guess.
Like, do we think that Jesus isn't well propagandized enough that like I'm waiting for a dude with a sign from AC Moore drawn in thin Sharpie that says like Jesus saves, that for me to be like, oh
yeah, where's that guy going?
He fucking does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Hold on, let me pull over.
I haven't heard about this guy yet.
Bro, it really is an insane logic to have.
It's
but
like
people really get drawn into that and then get in cults. Like that's a real thing.
Yeah.
There used to be a guy who he had the biggest fucking sign ever. It was on Temple's campus, like at the bell tower, but it was like literally a 15-foot tall sign that he had like attached to a stick of bamboo that he might, I don't know, it was gigantic. But he would always have like, he had a mic that went to his mouth and he had like speakers that would project. And people would walk up to him and just be like, do you think this is doing anything? Like, again, not to sound like a dick, but like you're yelling at college students on their way to a bio class about how Jesus is the way. It's like, I believe you, but I still got to go to fucking biology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I still got to go to class.
Yeah.
Jesus, unless Jesus is about to save my diploma.
Yeah.
Unless it's about to save my degree from the fiery pits of getting fucking expelled. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, none of it logically makes sense, but they do it. And it's like, they're very like, it reminds me of like the 49ers guy that lives, which by the way, I live near, which, by the way, I worked with him. I worked with him at Rossi's and it was the funniest thing on the planet. Do you know about this guy?
I don't think so.
Oh my God.
So there was a guy.
Oh my God.
Who's the biggest 49ers fan possibly ever.
Definitely.
And his house was just covered with 49er stuff, but like, it wasn't just like normal flags and shit like that. It was like mannequins.
Yep.
With like 49ers jerseys, and he would walk out half painted red, half painted gold, walking around with a sign talking about the 49ers. And then would just everyone I don't know if they loved him. I didn't, because again, I met him. He's
Valley guy.
Valley guy,
Oh, yeah.
for sure,
Yep.
without question.
Yep.
And I remember this is when they went to the Super Bowl with Colin, I believe, Colin Kaepernick. I was working at the time, and he comes in fully painted up, walking around in the kitchen with the sign. And I said, brother, I'm trying to wash dishes that I don't want to wash. Please get the fuck out of here.
Like, dip out of here, dude. We don't need this.
Like, this is like the worst day ever. Please, I smell like fucking like Italian meat and shit. Get away from me, please.
Whoa, pause.
Super pause.
That was crazy.
That was a bad one. However,
This is why you guys invited me on this fucking
Yeah.
podcast.
yeah, 100%. It was gonna happen at some point. There was
Everybody
gonna be a
gets
pause.
one.
Yeah,
That's it.
You're lucky Bo isn't here. He's the one that's always saying some crazy shit. So he's in Atlantic City right now. But no, he was horrible. Not horrible, but he was fucking hilarious. And like there was like a GoFundMe because he was about to like lose his house and shit. It was like a whole thing. Like 49ers fans really like stuck up for him, and they were still like, yeah, get out though.
I have a piece of lore to add to this because I don't know. Do you know his YouTube page?
No. Oh my God, he had a YouTube page.
He has that YouTube page still up there. It's like,
Yes.
don't quote me on this, but it's like Jerry Rice fan 49110, something like that. All of my friends memorized his fucking YouTube page.
I was gonna say that was very specific, so I believe that's the name.
It's because it's like one of the few things that's searched like actual pages on my YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I rarely search actual pages. That's one of the few.
Yeah.
So he had a YouTube page where he would be fully painted up, and he would have the mannequins or like cutouts of people in his house, and he would talk to them, and he would like yell at one because he's trying to fuck the other mannequin, but that's his girlfriend.
Oh my
And
God, I didn't know this.
And then there was another part where he would watch the game, right? So like say you're the camera. He's watching the game like this and he's facing straight ahead at the TV and he's on carpet, like shag carpet, like actual like built-in carpet. And he's walking around with his shirt off and socks off and he has a wine glass in his hand and he's going, "Let's go, baby. Come on, baby. Let's go." And he just looks at the TV and smashes the glass off his head and then just keeps walking around. And at this point, like, the first time it's like, all right, hopefully he doesn't step on any glass. By the fifth cup, by the fifth wine glass, you're like, his feet are riddled with cuts, right? Like, so does that explain the 49ers guy properly to you? He'd walk with like a flag that you wouldn't see outside of like, the only place you would see a flag this big would be like outside the 49ers headquarters. He would walk up and down Geno Murley Drive with that every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. just yelling, "Let's go, baby. Today's the day. We're going to win the game, baby." Like, yeah.
And he's went through a lot because they have not won a Super Bowl every time they've been there in the past like decade and a half. Like,
Yeah, God bless the guy. He's the definition of a dedicated fan. You know what I mean? Like I got a tattoo of my team. That guy, if he does not have an entire full chest piece,
I would be shocked.
yeah. Jerry Rice is definitely square in the middle.
Yeah.
100%. He's got Joe and he's got Steve flanking either rib, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
I wonder how many subscribers he has. If he has more than us, we're going to have to ramp up this content because I cannot be unsubscribed by the 49ers guy. That's not going to happen.
I was just thinking in my head how many friends I have. Because that's how many people are subscribed to me. Like that's the maximum amount. He's not popping up on your For You page like, "Oh, here's a clip of this guy smashing a glass off his forehead after a touchdown in a regular season game."
Yeah.
October.
I want to know which friend found this. I'm trying to guess.
I think it's Billy Williams. Shout out Billy
I was
Williams.
going to say Billy Williams.
Pretty sure it's Billy Williams. Because Billy didn't live like that far away from him either. Like he lived like right by the old library.
Yeah.
So like he didn't live that far away from him either, and that was just his route to school all the time.
Right.
So he would always drive by him and be like, "Yo, this fucking idiot."
Bro, because I'm not going to say the street, but I lived like a street off of Geno, and I'm like, I would see him all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it was inevitable. Like no matter where I was going, he was going to be right there at Sunday morning or Sunday night, whenever if they won or not. Like he was going to be there.
Yeah,
like, without question.
That's my favorite part about the Valley, honestly, is like whether you, like I try to take people like completely not seriously.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of times where I'll look at people and just be like, you are not necessarily like, you're a character.
Yes. If
You're doing that character on purpose, I don't give a shit. But you're clearly a character. Like you got you got like quirks, you got, little weird things about yourself, whatever. I love the fact that the Valley is just constantly has characters in it.
Oh my God!
Every Ubaldo is a bizarro land.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of like half drunk, like
which will be fun this year.
yeah, Ancestry.com Italians. That's what I call these folks now. They used to call them Wonder Bread Wops, which I always thought was pretty funny. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I'm an Italian American too. Like I was born in Scranton, so I'm not pretending I'm from the boot. But the cats who are like, I did 23andMe. I'm 3% Italian. Okay, I love capicola. You're like, you just learned how to pronounce that word today. Yeah. You were at home on your phone going, Italian cold cuts pronunciation. You know what I mean? I was, hey Siri, how do you say mozzarella properly?
Mozzarella, yeah. No, there's a lot of people. I did want to talk about characters in the Valley that we have grown up with, because there was a lot. And like, I tell him stories, he doesn't really believe it. So I have to make sure that this is someone from the Valley is with me to fully show these characters. There's so many to start with. One from our school. I don't know if I should be saying these, but I don't, whatever.
We'll bleep the names.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which is even funnier, by the way. Because whoever's listening to it, if they know it's them, they're gonna be like, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. Why'd you bleep that out?
I know this story.
Yeah. Everyone that listens from the Valley knows this story.
Oh, man.
Clay Patch was a big name.
Yo, dude. You know what's funny? I fight every day to not accidentally look like Clay Patch. Because he had this like handlebar mustache, and he had kind of a mullet. So if I just let it grow out, I'll accidentally look like him. But I got to wear way more denim.
Yeah,
he used to be Clay Patch was this hall monitor we had, who we used to do this trick with him, because he had this thing where if there was change around him, he would pick it up. It was 100% guarantee. Could be a penny, doesn't matter. Could be a penny and pile of shit. Doesn't matter. And every lunch, he would like monitor the lunch. So he would just do laps around the lunch. And like, if you had a quarter, because you would get change, you would just say like, yo, Rash already. And you would just fling it across, and you would watch him. Dude, he would be like a vulture. Like, it doesn't want to immediately go there because it doesn't know if another vulture already claimed it. So he just circles it for a little bit. So you would see him, like, he'd be on this corner of the thing. He'd hear a ding, 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 and he would just fucking beeline over and then just, like, circle it 2 or 3 times. And then he would just, like, look around and just drop down real quick and pick it up.
That's not a joke. That's a 100% thing that happened every lunch.
This guy...
Which, by the way, there was 3 lunches for us at Valley View. There was, like, A, B, and C. And A, B, and C, he was doing it all the time.
I'm telling you, that guy, he probably didn't get paid by the school. He was probably like, you know what? Let me just forego my salary, put it back to the kids, get these kids iPads. You know what I mean? Like,
which, by the way, you said hall monitor. I was gonna say I didn't even know his job title.
Yeah, I think he was a hall monitor. If you told me he was
a teacher, there's no way.
No, if you told me he was just employee of school, that would make more sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, Clay Patch was. We would see Clay Patch in the wild, and we would treat it like a David Attenborough, like Planet Earth. Like, there he is. Among the Macy's button-down clearance section. Soon he will make his strike, and he will take his prey. There he goes. And he would just grab something off the shelf.
Bro.
Anyways, yeah, that's Clay Patch.
That's
Clay Patch, dude.
Clay Patch was a character. Who was our fucking principal? Remember the military guy?
Oh, Chapla. Dude.
Was I don't even know how to describe him as he was an anomaly.
Chapla was the funniest character ever. We went from like a principal who for all accounts was just the spaciest dude ever. Mm-hmm. He'd be like, "What's up, Mr. Timmons?" He'd be like, "Who? Who?" You know what I mean? We went from him to like a Marine. Mm-hmm. Who, like, he showed up and I don't know if you remember this, but he would always say, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is your better and your better is your best. And he would like tell us to say that like before soccer games and shit. And we would just be in the huddle just being like, yo, he's a fucking idiot. All right. So here's like a weird bit of Valley lore, but my year, without naming any names, a handful of us went to Scranton Prep. During a Scranton Prep Valley View high school football game at Valley View. And with some, lime, We can cut this, by the way. And if you know Lime, like the grass killer,
Yeah.
we went there and burned a big VV in the middle of Scranton Prep soccer field.
I remember this. That was
Yeah, it was a big. It's the reason Prep has turf now.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because they kept cutting the grass out and trying to replace it with more grass, and they couldn't use the field for months. And then they went to go look at the grass. It kept growing in a VV. So
I did not know that.
yeah, because lime is not like a grass killer. It's like a grass obliterator. You know what I mean? It's like you killed all the generations of grass behind the grass. You know. And then there was we got called into the lunchroom as like the entire soccer team because they were like, one of you guys did it. There's no fucking way one of you guys didn't do it. We got called into the lunchroom, and I remember it was like super super quiet. Like he was trying to like make it really really tense. And he's just like, he's walking past us and all of us are trying not to laugh. And he just looks at us and he just goes, you guys are acting like a bunch of jackasses out there and you're making our school look bad. And dude, all of us are like crying laughing at this point. And he's like, what is so funny? What is so funny? He was the dude. He was like so accidentally the funniest dude ever. Cause he would come in with it and he's like, dude, you're talking to a bunch of 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
In Archbold, Pennsylvania. Yeah. No one gives a fuck. You know what I mean?
Not a soul.
You were a Marine, no one gives a shit, dude. You know what I mean? Like my dad cuts pants. I don't give a fuck what yours does. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Chapla was a bizarro person.
Chapla got bullied.
Yeah, which is so funny that we can say a bunch of 16-year-olds bullied a Marine. Like that is very funny to say.
I think the first job opportunity he got, he took it.
Oh yeah, he
was gone.
Yeah,
there was no way he was staying.
No, and it's funny too because like our vice principal Mendocino was like the coolest guy ever. Mm-hmm. Like he was kind of a hard ass when he wanted to be a hard ass, but like sometimes he had to be. You know what I mean? Like sometimes fucking 17-year-olds are stupid. But he was also like, you remember Poop Dollar?
Yes.
You know Poop Dollar? So we didn't literally rub shit on it, by the way. Don't do that. Yep. Disgusting. Can you imagine? I love talking to the camera. But we would do a Poop Dollar. And we used to, every time we would have like muffins or like anything chocolate, basically, we would rub the chocolate on a dollar, crumple it up and leave it on the ground. And then someone would pick it up. And the moment someone touches it, every single person who's in on it yells Poop Dollar. Mm-hmm. Mendocino would get caught with a Poop Dollar nonstop. And the one time he got caught with a Poop Dollar and ran like faster than I've ever seen a person run, laughing the whole time, like out loud in the comment, just going, ha, 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 ha. Like, and I'm like, dude, this guy is cool.
Yeah.
Not the Marine guy. No way. No.
No, he would have had aneurysm if he picked up that Poop Dollar.
Yeah, which is funny. Like, I don't know. Like we would have like the student section, like at basketball games and shit. And like, we were mean, but in a, like not in the meanest way. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say like, yo, 23, like your mom sucks dick. Like that would be like, I wouldn't do that. Instead I would say, number 23, your mom works at the Cheetah Club. And then everyone for the next like 30 seconds would be Cheetah Club. You know what I mean? So, but we would do shit like that. And like Mendocino would never have a problem. And then Chapla would walk over and just be like, you guys can't keep chanting about Will and Grace. I don't care if they have the box set on DVD. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no, Mr. Chaplin, you don't understand, dude. That guy's got basic cable. Yeah. You can't make fun of the economic positions. I'm like, dude, basic cable is not an economic position. You know what I mean?
First off, that's the point of the student section anyway.
That's the point, dude.
Is to make fun of the person that you're playing. First off, we weren't winning most of the time anyway. Especially, like, when we, like, because I think our student section was bigger for basketball.
For sure.
So, like, our team wasn't fucking winning shit.
No.
We were going to make fun of the other team.
Yeah, we were hype when we had one kid that could dunk.
Yes.
We were hype when he had a breakaway. And then he wouldn't dunk it. And then we'd be like, well, that was all of the excitement for the week. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there it goes. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's all we had was that breakaway dunk, and you didn't do it.
It's like, fuck, I painted my face up for this? for a block dunk off the rim? What are you talking about?
Yeah, we did not have the most athletic basketball players on our team, for sure.
No.
But that's where we got the most creative, though, because we had nothing else to really do.
Yeah.
I remember when we played West Side, and I know a couple people on the West Side team, and we know the one. Mm-hmm. He was dating someone from Valley View, I believe, at the time. Yes, he was. And we were chanting at him that someone else had sexual relations with this girl, and I'm like, I look back at her now because he's like one of our friends. And I'm like, damn, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was real. But I remember like that's what we would do because we weren't winning the game, so we might as well just make fun of you in some way, shape, or form. We found whatever we could to make like our research was way better than their basketball practice.
100%.
It wasn't even close, like at all. I remember we had a bukkake chant.
Oh yeah, Bukkake. That's how you spell bukkake.
Bro.
Well, I was telling you the same way that we told the entire auditorium when we were chanting it. You'd have moms like sitting there on their phone, like with their glasses going like, Bukkake. Live. You'd be watching their faces going, they're going to find out what it is right here. I know what the first results are going to be because I look it up myself. A little joke. It's a little joke. You shouldn't look up bukkake videos. That's a bizarre thing to want to watch. Anyway. That's not a joke. That's just that's a statement of the crowd. Yeah, that's just to the audience. Don't do that. Pick something else. You know what I mean?
There's many categories.
There's so many pages on any of those sites. Don't go to the bukkake page. Don't. That's the last one you want to go to. No. If you got to that point on porn and you ran out of everything else, you're done.
Yeah.
You completed it. You got the achievement. You 100%ed the game.
You unlock the character. And
yeah.
You're fine.
You got the gold trophy.
Yeah, reach your peak, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. Delete the game. Yeah. You're finished.
Delete the game. On to the next one. Yeah, no, I mean, the Valley times were really fun.
Yeah.
There were some messed up times. I did not know that was y'all that did the VP. Well, I kind of knew, but like I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who it was offline. But it's because again, I don't know what the statute of limitations for Lyme is.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
Not something you usually do when you're committing petty crimes. Is like, well, I better find out how long I'm allowed to get arrested for this. You know what I mean? Usually just like, let's do it. You know?
Especially at 16, you don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah, I would think a lot of crimes don't have a ton of foresight. And if they do, those are serial killers. Yeah. That's usually how it works. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like there's a
thought into it, yeah.
Serial killers.
Yeah, 100%. And again, high schoolers not looking that up.
No.
We did not care enough.
No, I will say one thing that I do kind of like, I'm jealous of from another high school. This is the stupidest thing ever. So my fiance went to Lakeland, and when she was there, they had a thing they called Jungle Lab, right? Where during lunchtime, all the seniors would tell all the freshmen to go into the bathroom, and they would all go in there and make barn animal noises as loud as they could for as long as they could.
Yep.
And my girl's like, yeah, dude, they handed out like 3-day suspensions nonstop. Just like you had kids in the bathroom yelling like pigs. Like, and Lakeland's not a big school, so if everyone's in the bathroom and you're eating lunch, you hear it full well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and vaping in the bathroom. We never vaped in the bathroom. We didn't have vapes. We only got to smoke cigarettes at our cars.
I was gonna say we were more of a chew sort of school,
which was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like. Did you guys have kids who spit on the ground when they chewed? Bro, and kicked it into the carpet? Like,
yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
But at the bus stop, it was everybody smoking cigarettes, doing their early morning blunt rotations, all that kind of stuff. They were going crazy at the bus stop in the morning.
We had one homie, shout out Yago, R.I.P. Yago.
Yago.
He had the same teacher like every year, like on purpose. Like he purposefully took this like a specific class, so he had this one teacher, Mr. Roop. And he would always tell Mr. Roop, like every day in class, be like, Mr. Roop, I left my lunch money in the car. Be like, Garrett, again? You know what I mean? He'd be like, I gotta go run and grab my money. Be like, all right, go ahead out. Yeah, I go out to his car, smoke a cigarette, and come back inside every single day. Dude.
That sounds like such a Yago move too.
Yeah, 100%. Dude. And it's just like, like sometimes you need a dart in the middle of class 15 years old. Yeah.
Bro, the amount of times like people would just take that class just to go, they were like, yeah, we can get away with dipping here. Because there's no carpet here, we're fine.
Yeah, it was the day you found out that there was a door that went through the back and you were like on a wing of the building that like no one went to unless you needed to be there. You're just like, all right, well, this is the paraphernalia area. This is where we do all our drugs and, vices.
Yeah.
Kids definitely drank in that class.
Oh my God.
Without a doubt.
No question.
Oh, is that water? For sure. Fall over. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. The amount of people that would come in with a water bottle. I'm like, yeah, that's not.
Yeah. It's like, why you wince every time you sip water? How that possible? You know what I mean?
It's
every time.
It's flavored. I don't like the flavor. Yeah, it's flavored vodka, brother. I don't know. That was a real thing.
Yeah, I didn't know Svedka made water.
Yeah.
News to me, dude.
Yeah, they broke into a new category for sure. Every time. I remember Woodshop was always the place that we would chew at 100%. Because like we would be like, we would spit on the floor, and they're like, "Is that chew?" Nah. And then he'd be like, "Okay, all right, sure, why not?"
Woodshop was hilarious because our teacher was like, I don't know. He was 70% deaf, meaning he had 30% of his hearing. Mm-hmm. He worked in a woodshop class with power tools.
Yeah.
So he couldn't hear a motherfucking thing ever. Like there was a light hum from like the sawdust vacuum thing that would always be going. He'd be like, "Yo, Mr. Hanson, what time is do we have an exam next week? Huh?" Like, all right, like you have to approach the man like he's the Pope to talk to him and be like, you know what I mean? But his class was hilarious because like you could get, like we had bullies galore in our school. Everyone was a bully to people. We were all bullies.
Correct.
And in woodshop, it was like someone would make something and then Mr. Hanson wouldn't be looking and like someone would just come over and just smash it with a hammer. And Mr. Hanson would walk over and like completely oblivious, just be like, "Now, how'd you do that?" Like, yeah, dude, I sat here after 13 hours of class time putting together this box. I just, right afterwards, just smashed it to bits. Exactly what I did. How'd you know? That fucking class was so fun.
This podcast is basically just us telling Zay about Valley View. And I love every second.
Yeah, basically.
Pivot to something else. What else you guys want to talk about? You guys want to talk about how my Celtics got fucking...
We don't have to talk about that.
Washed across the ground?
Listen, I'm already in a group chat with Knicks fans. I don't really need it. I don't need this conversation.
Listen, you're a Celtics guy.
Yes.
Yeah. I hate everything about what happened this playoffs.
Yes.
I'm saddened by the regression of Kristaps Porzingis. I would kiss Derek White on his bald forehead if the opportunity was given to me. And I'd tell him straight up, like, you know.
Why?
Exactly. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. What else? Joe Mazzulla. I love Joe Mazzulla. I don't ever want him to leave. I like that he's an unhinged psychopath.
Correct.
I hate the Knicks. I hate New York sports. I feel like you guys have enough shit going on over there. Okay, stop pretending like your fucking basketball team is going to do anything. Okay, they go to a Broadway play. You know what I'm saying? Go see Cats.
Yeah.
Okay, go see the fucking Book of Mormon. Go see something that's, you know, a bunch of guys dressed up as, you know, birds or something singing on a stage. Don't stop pretending like the Knicks. It's your first fucking Eastern Conference final since 2000.
And they're acting like it.
Do you know what's happened since 2000? 9/11. We can cut that.
I did tell our buddy, I'm like, if y'all make the finals and win this shit, it's going to be worse than 9/11 in that bitch.
100%.
No question.
100%.
Just beating the Celtics was like their championship.
Yeah, and that's, you know what? We're in Philly, all right? I count myself as a Philly man. Like, we need to stop the Philly slander when it comes to, you guys destroy your own city every time you win a championship. Bro, the Knicks almost destroyed their own city after winning a game.
After winning the second
just
round.
One of the games. Yeah, we're so dead to fuck. Yo, relax. You know what I mean? It's all right. Hell yeah. Right? But
they don't have a lot of success.
Don't get mad at us just because we figured out how to take down light poles fast. It's not our fucking fault.
We're smarter over here.
What, did you want us to do it the same way every time? No, we perfected the fucking move. Okay? If you guys were there, I don't know if you guys ever saw the videos from like the first Super Bowl win that we had, like that night. I was standing right in front of the Ritz-Carlton when the awning broke. Yeah. But like behind us is City Hall. And there were these giant like 25-foot light poles that went like every probably 15 feet encircling City Hall. Yeah. We have videos of the first one taking 10 minutes to knock down, and then it just comes down all at once. By the 10th time that we were doing it, not me, by the time that they were doing it, they were getting it down in like 5 seconds. Yeah. And that just shows you
There's an art to it.
human ingenuity. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Teamwork.
You give a guy the same problem a couple of times, he'll figure it out better and better every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck New York. I don't know what else. Fuck New York. All right, Boston's coming back next year. All right, Tatum's coming back in February.
That's what the hope is.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna black out this summer. I'm just gonna pretend like nothing matters and happened.
Move on to football season.
Yeah, dude. You know what I mean? Go Birds. That's you know what I mean. Go Birds. Go Birds.
Oh God, it was a miserable. Because I overlooked them. I was like, yeah, we're smoking their shit. But nope. We blew 2 20-point leads, a 15-point lead, and then lost our superstar for a year.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Way to end.
After the second 20-point lead blow, I'm like, all right, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a soccer guy, like, first and foremost, and like, if you told me, like, yeah, your team blew a 3-0 lead twice in a row to lose, like, all right, well, we're getting rid of that subscription. We're not watching those games anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
And what's crazy is I still had so much confidence we were winning that shit.
Me too.
Like, even after the game 2, and I went on, what is it, on Twitter? You can go the live spaces where no listeners were on there, and I'm just venting about Tatum. I'm like, and after that, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna win game 3 and 4, and bring it back to Boston, win game 5, and win game 6, and call it a day. That didn't obviously happen, but I was still confident in us beating the Knicks, and it just did not happen. And I'm not putting that on here either. We're cutting that out too. So
I do love that sports lets you drink the Kool-Aid like that, though.
Oh
like, there's not many things in the world that like will let you just like with no hesitation be like, no, dude, we're fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If you punched me in the face 5 times in a row, I wouldn't be like, I'm gonna win this fight. Here we go. You know what I mean? Now it's starting. You know?
No, I needed 5. After the 5,
Yeah, there's a certain level of like of just blind love that like I felt the same way. Like even after we were down 3-1, I'm like, dude, 3-1, fucking been there, done that. We could do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
We came back from 3-0. I mean, we didn't win it, but we came back from 3-0.
Yeah.
We did game 7.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Like that's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
I would have been way more confident if Tatum was in, obviously. But
Yeah.
like with Brown, I love Jalen sometimes, but like after game 5, I'm like, I really don't think we're gonna win that one. To be honest, I don't have much faith in Kristaps Porzingis coming back to life. Ever.
No.
That's done. So he needs to go. Otherwise, I can't talk about the Celtics anymore.
I would go as far as to say the country of Latvia.
Gotta go.
It's ours now. We're claiming countries, from what I understand. So if I can just throw my hat in the ring, what place I'd like, let's take Latvia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's get a good presence, I think, in Eastern Europe, where Latvia probably is, maybe. You know what I mean?
I have no idea.
The fucking viewer is going to be there like, Latvia's not fucking Eastern. Yeah, we'll claim that.
Okay.
Canada's already ours, it sounds like.
Yeah, we already got.
We just got the Gulf, which is sick.
Yeah. Canada's definitely ours from the Kendrick Drake beef.
Yeah, shout out Puerto Rico though, dude. They've just been in waiting for years. They're just like, can we please be a state? It's like, hold on a second, we got to take Canada. Dude. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'll call you right back. And then
Puerto Rico's been sitting there in the waiting room, just like, no,
they're the most patient people of all time.
ever.
It's absolutely
Not that patient though, because they all just moved to New York. It's a joke. It's just a little haha. Okay. You're allowed to laugh. It's okay. I told a lady the other day in the crowd, she was trying to not laugh and she had her arms crossed like this. I'm like, you can't laugh with your arms crossed. You're holding it all in. Undo that. You know what I mean? Like,
she was willfully. Do you have hecklers at your shows? Have you had them?
This is weird. Like, I feel like I personally don't have that much hecklers because I'm like it sounds dumb. I'm not some giant person, but like I'm 6'1", 6'2", like 200. So like I'm big enough that I don't think people like just openly think they can heckle me as easily as like, I don't know. I have some friends who are just like tiny roly-poly guys, and they're very like, they get heckled. Yeah. They're easier targets.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I do some shows where my buddy down in DC, shout out John Yeager, he puts on a show called Heckler's Ball, which is like the first 2 minutes, you have 2 comedians standing or sitting behind you with signs. Yeah. And they're the next 2 comedians to go. And you do 2 minutes of your regular set, and then the next 4 minutes, the comedians invite the crowd to heckle you.
Okay.
That's like the most I get heckling wise.
Okay.
But that's also invited. And you also like, you find like hecklers tend to not be like there's two kind of hecklers in my opinion. There's like hecklers who like think that they need to tell you something.
Right.
Because they need to tell you something. And then there's hecklers who are needing to tell you something because they're drunk. Like drunk hecklers are way worse in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like drunk hecklers, like they don't know when to stop. You can't beat them. They will just not shut the fuck up. I was at a show like 6 months ago. You guys know Michael Che?
Yes.
I was at his show at Hotbed in DC, and he did like an hour 15, and he was wearing a Mets hat. And there was a group of people behind me that like, I was sitting in the front row, and there were people right behind me that would not shut the fuck up. And they just kept going, New York Mets, New York Mets. And then at one point he stopped and he's like, what are you saying? Are you saying New York Mets? And they're like, yeah, we love the Mets. He's like, yeah. Because of the hat? They're like, yeah, we love them. He's like, okay, cool. So anyways, and he would just continue on with the shit. And they just kept interrupting so much that it's like, they're clearly drunk. You can't beat them outside of just kicking them out.
Right.
Which plenty of times that happens too. Like, comics will just be like, no, we're not. Like, I'm not entertaining this for the amount of time I have on stage. Yeah. Because when you're like my level, it's like you got like 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Time, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to spend 10 of my 15 minutes talking to you about your fucking, about how you don't think that my joke makes sense. Like, all right, well, move on.
Right.
I got 17 in the chamber, like ready. You know what I mean? You don't like that one, here they come.
Yeah.
So yeah, hecklers are like, I don't know. It's a part of it, but I feel like the hecklers, the drunk hecklers are the more common ones. The ones that are like the more like righteous hecklers, they're few and far between, but they suck unbelievably.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they want to tell you like, you shouldn't make fun of Italians. It's not right. My grandfather was Italian. I'm like, good for you, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? I'm still getting these jokes off. Like,
It's a fact.
you think because your no was, I don't give a fuck. Where's he? You know what I mean? Is he at the show?
Yeah.
Let him say something.
Yeah. Why do you care at all?
Yeah. Let him pull up.
Yeah.
If he's not here, fuck him.
I would say though, like out of a lot of the comedians, I feel like you would definitely be good at like handling a heckler.
Yeah. My way of handling hecklers is like, now you're part of the show. Okay, fine. You wanted to talk. It's not you and the crowd talking to me. It's you talking to me. So I'll just like straight up just be like, what'd you say? No, what'd you say? I'm here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll spend a minute or two if it means like pointing out how bizarre you look in a room of 75 people that you will not shut the fuck up. And I have the microphone.
Yeah.
And it's like, I tell everybody who, like all of my friends who always, like when they come to my shows, the first time they come, they'll always say like, can I heckle you? I'm like, you are absolutely invited to heckle me. Just understand that I do this all the time.
Right.
You heckling is not going to be as prepared as me answering you. You know what I mean? Like, so hecklers usually don't go in it with like a second statement. They're usually just like, let me get this one thing out. And then I hope they don't call me out. And when they do, they're like,
yeah.
You know,
there's no preparation outside of the one statement.
Yeah. It's usually just like you have this thing in your head and you're like, when there's a break in the time, I'm going to say it. And then you say it and you don't realize that like there is a world after you say that.
Yeah.
It's not like you say it and then it's like, oh yeah. And then I went home.
It's like, no, I said it and then I got absolutely
and then the show was
kicked out. And,
yeah. Then I got eviscerated by a guy who's at least semi-professional in it. You know what I mean? Like does it every week. Why the fuck?
They just want the attention on them too.
It would be like if you ran out of pitchers and the guy and the manager was like, you come on in here. You're going to get shelled.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you even saying yes for?
At all.
Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, so it's the same thing. It's like, come on upstage.
Right.
You think you're funny? Go ahead. Here's the mic. I'll give you 5 of my 10 minutes if you think you're that funny. And if you're not funny in the first one, you're getting kicked out. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know what I mean?
I wonder if anyone would take that offer though.
You would be shocked.
Really?
Yes.
I would so not take that offer.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. There's this such a weird thing. Like if you went to a concert of a band or a rapper or whatever, right? You wouldn't yourself, like you're wearing a Kendrick shirt, right? You wouldn't pull up to a Kendrick concert and be like, I can do that. Yeah. Like even if I have all the words, I can rap all of his songs right now as well as he is. You just wouldn't do that. You would never have that level of hubris. When it comes to comedy shows, for some fucking reason, somebody in the crowd always is convinced themselves like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I have better, funnier things to say than this. So it's like I wouldn't be shocked if you like said to a heckler, "Do you want to come up here?" And they said, "Yeah, I'll come up." You have such dumb people.
Yeah.
That is fair.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's a lot of there's a level of just stupidity.
Yeah, and prideful people trying to go up there and everything.
Right. Because it's one of these things where it's like comedy is a lot different. Comedy, I always say, is a very flat world, right? In the sense of like, not to sound super corporate, but in the sense of like, if you're a musician and you want to become the next Travis Scott, whatever, right? You have to either have some incredible big break or you have to make music consistently for like 15 years, good music,
right,
before someone hears a song and then realizes you have a back catalog, realizes your talent, whatever. With comedy, it's like you could be an open mic comic doing your first open mic today. And if you just stick with it for like 3 years, you will run into people that you see on the internet and you're like, how the fuck do I know that guy?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot flatter of a thing. So I feel like people in the crowd have this like inherent sense of like, well, I can do that because I see people on the internet doing that. And it doesn't look that hard because all they did was record themselves and post a clip. I can probably do that. Versus like if you see someone shredding on a guitar, you don't think to yourself, oh, I fucking do that. You know what I mean?
No.
It's a different...
Yeah, I think it's just people think talking is easy.
Yes.
And it's not.
Yes.
In the sense of you doing it, or like people think like public speaking is like an easy thing, but a lot of people can't do it.
Yeah, it's a completely different vibe. The fact that the three of us are in this room versus if there was 75 people right now watching us do it, like it's just a completely different cadence. Because you're like, right now, if I accidentally say something that I don't like, we can cut it.
Right. Yeah.
If I say something that I don't like on stage, I have to hope that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's a level of like knowing what you can and can't say,
right,
that you can't take back once you say it
100%.
in front of people. And people think, oh, well, I think they look at it as like clips too, like, because now crowd work is like a big thing in comedy. Like it was always probably a thing, but like now it's like people popularized it. So now it's like, oh, I can do this. It's like, no, you still can't.
Yeah,
just because you've seen somebody do it in a clip doesn't mean you can also do it.
It's very much like crowd work is very much a skill. And I do like the way that comics are doing it now where, so like, I don't post clips. I have not posted clips yet, I should say. Not because I don't have clips that I like, more so because it sounds very dumb, but like when you're first starting out, you don't want to burn jokes that you like. And I'm not saying that because you follow me on Instagram, you've watched every joke that I've ever posted and now you come to the show and you know every joke. It's not that. It's more so like, I would rather you not know any of them. I'd rather you show up and hear my written material the way I wrote it in person, not cut up, not clipped up, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes to crowd work and stuff, like most comics nowadays will do crowd work to get clips, to drive interaction toward their page. So then people will come see the show. Right. Makes a lot more sense. For like, sure, because most crowd work, like, I don't know. I had a really, really fun set last weekend where like I did crowd work for the first half of it. And it's like, I'll post those clips most likely because I will never use those jokes again.
Yeah, no.
There's not a lot of chances where I'm going to have all of those stars aligned where that joke worked in that room with those people. So you got to post it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Otherwise you're just kind of sitting on shit where like after a year, after like a while, like there's a weird thing where you almost don't like your own jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
We're just like, that's a stupid joke. I'm not doing that one anymore. So it's like, if you don't post it, then 6 months pass, you think the joke is stupid and you never posted it. Now it's not worth it. And then you're like, all right, well, you know.
So what do you plan on doing next? You know, you're doing a couple sets. Do you plan on eventually like the big dream, like get tours going, like even do sketch comedy, do skit comedy, work with other comedians of that nature? So what is like the different avenues? I know there's a lot of comedy you can get into in different avenues, like even animation they're doing now. So I just, your thoughts on that in the future.
Yeah, I think, so I do my my New Year's resolutions in comedy terms.
Okay.
So this year, the New Year's resolutions are like have a show at least every other weekend, get on festivals and get into comedy clubs. So that's more or less my goal for this upcoming year. But like the long-term goal, like I'm learning right now how to like properly edit video, like how to like actually audio mix video so they sound right. I've been like writing a bunch of scripts for like shorts, for skits, for like I work with a couple of groups that write like short YouTube video type things. But yeah, overall, like the goal ultimately is like tour. Ideal world, this could be my real day job. Cause like, I don't know, like doing comedy in and of itself is very, very cool. Like it's never lost on me that like I am doing the thing that I want to be doing.
Right.
So there isn't like, there's like this, I don't know if it's the exact quote, but it's something to the tune of like, I was aiming so high I didn't realize I was living the dreams. It sounds very corny, but it is one of these things where it's like, I always think to myself like, well, how do I get booked for another show? How do I get a full fucking June? How do I do 25 minutes? How do I headline? How do I whatever? But it's like, I also have to think about the fact that like, I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary of comedy in July. My first booked show that I was actually like a name on a card was last April. So in a year, I feel like I've come pretty far.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in my mind, you know, like it's doing that, it's parlaying it into other stuff. Like with Scranton, for an example, like I said, doing a headline show at Cheap Shots on July 10th. Tickets in bio, probably. Yeah, hit the buttons. But yeah, so it's like stuff like that where it's like, I know that there's some level of, not like weight to it, but like being a comic in DC and then going to a place that is not Washington, DC, it's like you do have some level of weight behind your name of, I perform in a major metropolitan area. Now I am coming to a suburb. Let me be on your show. Right. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of that. It's going to be parlaying it into other stuff. And then, you know, now you did a headline set. Go do another one. Go do another one. Now you do headline sets. Now go tell a comedy club, do you want to do a spot as a guest spot? It's not a headline set for 25 minutes. It's a spot for 10 minutes, but it's bigger than a headline set at a, you know what I mean? At a Taco Corral or something like that. Like, so it's doing that. And it's, sounds dumb, but getting like cool venues.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I'm big on like this setup right here is dope. Like I tried to not look behind myself because I wanted to just see it like in the thing. But like, I like doing comedy in weird places. We just did a show a couple months ago at a skateboard shop. So like those pictures are sick, right? Like, but it's like cool stuff like that where it's like, I want to be able to look back in 20 years. Ideally it's my main job in 20 years and I'm doing it. I'm touring the country. It'd be fucking awesome.
Right.
But in 20 years, I still want to be able to look back and be like, yo, in front of skateboards, fire. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I did this in front of a mounted like mule deer. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Just shit like that where it's like, it's dumb shit, but it's like, I want to be able to show like my kids or something and just be like, yo, Pops was a fucking weirdo back in the day. You know what I mean? You think your dad was coming home from work and just cooking dinner and going to bed? Nah, dude. You're staying out till 12 telling jokes at Mexican restaurants in front of like a full mariachi band. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? That's the dream.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because you always think about like when a comedian, it's like a big tour all the time, but like you don't ever think about like where they started from. I guess like to me, like I grew up on like Bill Burr and like
favorite comedian ever.
Yeah, absolutely. He's top tier, if not the best. Chappelle, those guys like. You don't realize that they started somewhere at the bottom, where not even at the bottom, where it's like somewhere like super random. Yeah. So like you saying that kind of like put a thought in my head. Like they probably had that same type of feel, maybe. Yeah,
without a doubt. I feel like with Burr, like so Bill Burr's my favorite comedian ever. If my style, I try to take some of Bill Burr because I like his like I call it the highway ramp comedy style. It's very dumb, but if you picture a highway. The main road is in the middle and you're staying on the highway. There's a bunch of off ramps that come back into on ramps. Right. So you can get off and pop right back on, right? That's Bill Burr's jokes. Where if you're listening to the joke, the through line is my wife and my kids and blah, 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 blah. But then he keeps taking off ramps about like playing baseball with my kid and telling about religion, you know, sandwiches at Subway, like, and it's random things, but he's staying on a through line. Yeah. Like that's very much a skill. So I love his brand of comedy. That's just a quick plug for Bill Burr because he needed it.
He was struggling.
He's not selling out fucking O2 Arena every 3 weeks. But
oh my god.
Yeah, like with Bill Burr, I think like he was in Boston. He started in Boston, and it's like his first tour was not a 95 city tour. It couldn't have been.
No, there's no way.
And there are people now who are doing that. Like you look at like a Matt Rife type, for an example, right? Like that dude has put in a lot of time. Whether you like him or not, he is a comedian who has put in a ton of time.
Yeah.
That guy is an example, like he blew up nearly overnight for the bystander's eye, not like for the comedians who know him. Right. They're like, no, we know he's been doing shit forever, but he blew up kind of overnight. And it's like, yeah, he had like a 70 city tour because Instagram, TikTok, et cetera, allowed him to do that.
100%.
versus like you know what I mean? Like my first tour, Ideal World is like 7 cities.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like something small that could like, I want to get the vibe of what it is before diving directly into the deep end. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm Matt Rife where tomorrow a crowd work clip is going to pop off and, you know, every 50-year-old mother is going to want to fuck me. They already do. Little joke. But they do. We clean up at you, Baldo. All these drunken guinea whores. You can bleep that part out.
Clean up at you, Baldo. Oh my God. That was good. All right.
But yeah, so like that's like my ideal world is like if I can, you know, if in the next like 2 years I can have some level of a following where I can go to multiple places and have a booked show where my name is on a card, that is success to me.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely have to catch a show. A couple shows. Definitely have to catch
no doubt.
Are you performing soon in Philly?
Hopefully this summer. Like I haven't like nailed down any dates yet. But the summer is just obviously way easier to travel in.
Of course, yeah.
And like I have enough homies that live in the city that like will let me crash on the couch. So
right.
But yeah, my plan is I hope to. I got a couple of connects from DC that told me about some guys in Philly. So, yeah, hope it's over the next couple of months.
Absolutely.
Be on the lookout.
That's a fact. It's also weird too, because like I feel like Scranton comedy now is like a thing, and I don't think it was ever a thing before. Like this past like year, like.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the guys up there. The guy who's booking the show in Olyphant, and he said, I was like, "Is there like a page that we can follow?" He's like, "There's not really that many of us," which makes sense. Again, it's like, you know, because it's part of it is like, do you have the people that will do it, and the other part of it is like, do you have a venue?
Right. Yeah.
Like ultimately, like if you don't have a venue, like you're kind of dead in the water. You can have 1,000 comedians if you have nowhere to tell jokes. You know what I mean? Right. So, but I feel like Instagram, TikTok has all helped the comedy wave a little bit in the sense that like random venues are down to have comedy shows now. So just like, all right, so what's the downside? It's like, not much. We're just going to be here for 2 hours. Everyone's going to keep getting drinks. All these comics are alcoholics. So they're going to get 7 gin and tonics guaranteed. Yeah. And then you guys keep the bar. Like, you know what I mean? So it's usually a pretty good deal. It's just a matter of like getting a venue to understand that there's some value in having people pull up and just tell jokes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll definitely pull up for that one too, for cheap shots.
Yeah, that'll be a good time.
Yeah, because I don't come to Scranton often, but you know, I definitely like to make the trip out there just to see family and whatnot. So definitely make my way out there. Yeah. I did want to talk about something, and you know, if it's a little weird, but like your grade when we were in Valley View, I felt like was a very like different vibe than like every other grade. I don't know if you agree with that, but I feel like there was a lot of different type of characters in there.
I tend to agree with that.
Because like I felt like my grade was very like cut and dry. You kind of get that like in every like suburb high school sort of thing. Like, how did you feel about your grade in general?
Yeah, I feel like I tend to agree, and I'm sure I have some level of bias. But yeah, I feel like our grade, like we had a lot of weirdos, but like not weird weirdos. Does that make sense? Like not weirdos you don't want to go talk to.
Mm-hmm. Like eccentric people.
Yeah, not weirdos that you're worried like every day what's in their backpack. Like that, you know what I mean? Like not those kind of weirdos, but like the weirdos that you're like, this guy's a little bit eclectic. You know what I mean? This guy's but yeah, I feel like our grade was I don't really know why we were all so fucking bizarre though. Because you're right, because it's like, and it really is a bunch of my homies. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but like I have one friend who dresses like he's a CIA agent. And at any point, like we had one kid in our grade, I'm not naming names here, but I'll tell you guys afterwards, but there's one kid in our grade who on any given day had like 9 knives on him.
All right.
And not like folding knives. Yeah. Like he was like a karate guy. Uh-huh. He was like, you know what I mean? So like we would go to like the movie theater and shit, and he'd be like, "Yo, you want to see something funny?" And he'd pull his pant leg up, and he'd have like 3 fucking kunais strapped around his calf, and you'd be like, "You think we need this while we're going to watch Shrek 4?" Word?
Oh my God.
I think there's going to be a lot of danger inside the theater while we're going to watch The Dark Knight Rises. You know what I mean? Like,
he is a ninja, I think.
He is, for sure. Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like,
it took me a second, but I got there. He's 100% a ninja.
But like one of my best friends, he looks like a Sons of Anarchy character. We have me. I look like I look like a Mario character, and it's like. But I mean, 100%. I don't know why we all were like that.
Yeah,
I think it's probably because like, especially my grade, we were all like the meanest people I could think of, like truly mean people, like from when we were kids. So I think you had to like kind of figure it out, and you know what I mean, like. But I do agree with you. There's a bunch of bizarre people in my grade.
Because like hanging out with your group, I was like, oh, this is not like my year at all. Like it was so different. I was like, I don't know how to operate in this because I knew how to operate in my system in my grade, and then like hanging out with you guys, I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like it was definitely different.
Yeah. We're a weird crew, but I also like it. It is nice that. Like, it's not normal. I talk to people all the time, and they're like, I only hang out with a couple of my friends from high school, but it's like my probably closest 20 friends all graduated with me, or a year above me, a year below me, you know what I mean? Right. So, like, somewhere generally, but, yeah, I don't...
You guys stayed very close, which is, like, not, like, a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like, for high school kids to, like, stay that close with, like, other kids from high school. Like, usually... Yeah. The status quo is you go to college and then you move on. But you guys all went to college together, low-key. So I was like...
We went to college together, and then, like, every time we met someone new, they had to, like, be one of us. Right. It was a very, like, I don't know, it was very, not cliquey, but it was like when 4 people who have known each other since they were 5 meet you all at once, there's not as much a level of, like, we got to get him to like us. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of that, but, yeah, we're all... This now I'm realizing we're all a bit bad at making new friends. That's what I'm kind of picking up. Is that we should have branched out. We should have. I'm going back to my friend's house right now. I'm going to tell him I'm leaving. I'm not sticking around. I spend too much time with these fucking people.
You're going out tonight.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm going. See you later. I'll be driving to a new city.
Just someone random.
I'm taking off the rearview mirrors. I'm not even looking back. I'm like, fuck them. Not doing it, dude.
We're going to pick the city for you, though, that you have to go to.
That's fine. And the answer is Baltimore. Baltimore. Philadelphia's uglier, brother.
Yep, 100%.
That is 100% what it is.
Baltimore is literally a Philadelphia accent if you gave it to a guy who never spoke English. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Philadelphia sounds a lot like this. Yeah. Then you go down Baltimore and it sounds a little bit dirty. You know what I mean?
The Baltimore accent is insane. I never realized it either.
It sounds like you're speaking through motor oil, is what it sounds like. Sounds like you're talking through car engine. Natural oil deposits in the ground. You're welcome down to Baltimore. Was also in Pittsburgh recently. They have the craziest accents I've ever heard in my life.
I've only been to Pittsburgh once, and I was like real young. I still need to go, but
it feels like they don't say any of the full words.
Really?
And this is coming from Scranton accents. They sound crazy.
Because our Scranton accent is like low key kind of trash.
It's butt cheeks. Yeah. Do you guys know about the? There was I can't remember what fucking magazine it was, but they did like a poll, like a tournament poll for worst accents in the country, and the final 2 were Pittsburgh and Scranton, and we lost. Which is terribly pathetic, Scranton. Let me speak directly to the camera here. We can't lose both country and state to fucking Pittsburgh. You understand? We have to come in second in one or the other. It cannot be both. You know what I mean? We can't even have the shittiest of something, dude.
Not Scranton, dope.
That's crazy. You know, like
we were like the most depressed city at one point. I think we got that on our belt.
And then we're definitely not anymore.
No.
They got no way.
We at least arose from the ashes on that one, I suppose. But like
rose from the anthracite.
Cut that out in post.
Did you guys do the Anthracite Museum tour too?
Yeah.
Dumbest shit in the world.
Terrible. Horrendous.
Unbelievable.
We need to talk about this. Our field trips were so trash. It was unbelievable.
It's because of where we were. It's because Scranton's not near anything cool. Like I think that's what we were lost on as kids was like Philly is a long trip. Mm-hmm. So is New York.
Yeah.
So is everything.
Yeah.
Scranton's like not so like the only things they can offer us were like, what if we went to Knoebels? You'd be like, okay, what's next year's field trip going to be? Knobles. You're like, oh, word. All right. So this is just forever. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like,
we had a trip to the a coal mine site.
Yeah. You had to go down in the coal mine.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly being all the way in the back of the mine, and they have this fake canary inside of a cage hanging.
Yep.
And the guy is saying to you, like, you know, in olden times, they kept a real canary here. And if it died and it stopped singing, they knew it was full of gas. Like, yo, you know how useless that information is? This deep in this motherfucker? What do you think I'm going to get out? There was a mine cart that brought us down here. It took it 25 minutes. We're dead. You just tell me we're dead. A, B, we don't know if there's actually fucking gas in here. We don't have a real canary anymore. It might be filled with gas. We have no idea.
Just tell me I'm going to get black lung before I go home and just die. Like
crazy.
Yeah, we had some trap. I remember because we also like went into like houses, like they were like old houses, and I'm like, why the fuck are we in this old ass house with like one bedroom with like what is it, the smallest bed possible? I'm like, okay, get me the fuck home.
Yeah,
I'd rather just be in class learning about life science and this shit.
Yeah. You had to do the unofficial field trips, which big thing in the Valley. I don't know if you guys did this in Scranton too. We would just go into old abandoned places and walk around for hours. Like, you know, the Scranton Lace Factory.
Yeah.
Fire. If nothing else you get from this podcast, know this. The Scranton Lace Factory was absolutely gasoline. Fucking unbelievable building. It was like 4 stories. They had a basketball court. They had a theater. They had a bowling alley. They had everything, dude. Nothing better. Saturday morning, you call your boys and just go, yo, let's go almost get in trouble. You know what I mean? Let's go trespass. You know what I mean?
100%.
What were you guys doing this weekend? Trespassing. Just,
Let's trespass.
Let's just trespass, dude. Yeah, but we were in the lace factory like nonstop. We got caught one time, and the guy was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" And I like just froze up. I was like, "We're doing a senior project." And it was like, "On what?" I was like, "The lace factory and its importance to Scranton." The guy's like, "Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, here, let me give you my card. Let me talk to you about this." And we like walked out, and I'm like, "Yo, we can't come back." Now this guy thinks I'm doing recon. You know what I mean? This guy thinks I'm taking notes. Like, 10-foot tall ceilings. Okay. So.
No, Scranton. Oh my God, Valley View was such a fun time.
Disaster place, but
it was an absolute disaster. It builds character though.
Mm-hmm.
There's, we're only like this because of Valley View.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're only like this because of the up-teen teachers who are now in jail. They are the ones who molded my mind, personally, i.e. the man allegedly who would just go into the school, big buff guy, Jack, gym teacher, pop into school before school started, work out on all the equipment naked. Sometimes you got to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes the only way to properly get a chest pump is if your asshole is also touching the bench. It's the only way. It's the only. Yeah. So that's who molded my brain. And my parents, I'm sure, are thrilled by that. They like see him on like TV, and they're just like, "Oh, him?
Yeah.
He taught you stuff. Okay. You know what I mean?" Is that too dark for you guys? Come on. Come the fuck on. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I didn't follow in his footsteps.
Yeah. I wasn't cleaning up after him. Like, "Oh, Stud, is that your boss?" Well, I mean, you know what I mean? I wasn't. Wouldn't do that shit. You know what I mean?
See, you didn't have any fun times like that.
Scranton was always the students. Scranton was always the students getting into shit.
All the time.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of...
We never had fights. We would have fights like once a month, and it would be like on the bus, some fat kid would get beat up by a football player.
Yeah. I've been around a couple stabbings, gunshots, whatnot.
That's what I'm saying.
Crazy stuff.
The only guns
go to Sonic, get a hot dog, come back, gun still on the ground.
The only guns I think we had in Scranton, in Archibald, were like long rifles. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if there was a shooting at school, it was like, well, how far away was the guy? Yeah.
He's aiming for a deer.
Yeah.
He shot from 170 yards away, dude. It was a marksman shoot. You know? Like,
you should be doing something with that.
Yeah.
Than,
Scranton, they were doing it a lot better. They were like, what if we got like face to face?
Yep.
And then I stabbed you. You know what I mean? Like that. What if we were hip to hip when I took one off your?
This is crazy, man.
We did have like once a month fights, and they were the best because you don't see them all the time.
Yeah, the best thing was when we had fights in the lunchroom and like all the lunch tables were like they were all circle tables and they were all movable. Like they weren't out during the day, whatever. And there would be a fight that breaks out, and then everybody at the table, like we had one designated table puller. It was like if the fight broke out over there, guy on that side had to pull the table away, so they had like a runway to fight in.
Yeah,
it was awesome, dude. It turned very quickly, and like like in like Sons of Anarchy, where like they get all the bicycles around, all facing with the lights on, and they fight in the middle. Same thing, dude. Just in a lunchroom.
Yeah.
One girl's just pulling the hair off another girl, throwing it to the side. She got a clump out. Beautiful. You know what I mean? It's what we live for, you know?
When you get to see someone's face get slammed into a locker, that's tier stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know, like, why'd you go to high school then? To learn? What the fuck? Wrong place to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Valley View.
Especially there, for sure. Yeah. There's not much learning going on.
No, if right now you said, go somewhere and learn something, I would be like, all right, scratch Valley View out right now. Let me just get that off the Mid-Valley to Lakeland, all those schools were out.
Carbondale,
No, they're not teaching shit in the Northeast.
No, not at all. They're teaching us character.
Yeah, they're teaching us dodgeball.
Teaching us dodgeball.
Teaching us dodgeball.
How to be gym class heroes.
How to be gym class heroes.
Into your 30s.
Yes.
For sure.
Yep.
Still to this day, super competitive because of dodgeball and kickball and anything else that we did.
I told the girl recently that she looks like someone who didn't like playing dodgeball but had to. That apparently wasn't nice to say to a friend. She's like, "Fuck you." So what? You know what I mean? So what if I was? I'm all right, you know.
But I called it, right?
Yeah, I fucking a half-court shot I hit there. No look.
No look shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, man. This is a great podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming
on.
on.
Have you on again because this is great.
Yeah, anytime I'm in Philly, hit me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll hit you up, rather.
Yeah. Plug your shit. Give us some plugs.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Facebook, at Frankie the Worst, FRANKIE the Worst. You can find my website, frank-giordano.com. And yeah, I have dates all the time on Instagram, on Threads, and on my website. So come see a show, stop by and say hi, and pay me. Pay me money when you come see the show. Please, if you see a tip jar, put money in it, okay?
Or a Red Bull.
Or a Red Bull. Or a Red Bull. Or a Red Bull. I'll take a Red Bull. Not a Coors Light.
I was going to say no.
We're not accepting. I don't care how fucking blue the mountains are. I don't want them. Keep that out of there. All I want is blue faces. I want Benjamin Franklin's. I'd like Ulysses S. Grant's.
Okay.
Andrew Jackson's.
Okay. George Washington?
No.
Okay,
No.
that's fair.
Clay patch takes up George Washington's off the ground. Plucks him. Callback joke. Who said he wasn't a pro? Come the fuck on.
That's a fact. That's a playback.
Oh, man.
Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. New Faces Podcast. See y'all next time.
Later.